Okay, here's the next segment of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We are in the month of January now. Wednesday, I found a way to have some fun with the big wheel Raleigh got me for Christmas. I came up with this game where one guy rides down the hill and the other guy tries to knock him off with a football. Raleigh was the first one down the hill and I was the thrower. It's a lot harder to hit a moving target than I thought. Plus, I didn't get a lot of practice. It took Raleigh like 10 minutes to walk the big wheel back up the hill after every trip down. Here he is going down the hill. Shriek, it says. Raleigh kept asking to switch places and have me be the one who rides the big wheel, but I'm no fool. That thing was hitting 35 miles an hour and it didn't have any brakes. Do you want to have a turn now? Pant, pant. No thanks, I'm not as good as you. So he used that as his excuse. Anyway, I never did knock Raleigh off the big wheel today, but I guess I have something to work at over the rest of Christmas vacation. Thursday. I was heading up to Raleigh's today to play our big wheel game again, but Mom said I had to finish my Christmas thank yous before I went out anywhere. I thought I could just crank out my thank you cards in a half hour, but when it came to actually writing them, my mind went blank. Let me tell you, it's not easy writing thank you notes for stuff you didn't want in the first place. I started with the non-clothes items because I thought they'd be easiest. But after 2 or 3 cards, I realized I was practically writing the same thing every time. So I wrote up a general form on the computer with blanks for the things that needed to change. Writing the cards from there was a breeze. Okay, so here he is. There he is typing on the computer. It says, Dear Aunt Lydia, thank you so much for the awesome encyclopedia. How did you know I wanted that for Christmas? I love the way the encyclopedia looks on my shelf. All my friends will be so jealous that I have my very own encyclopedia. Thank you for making this the best Christmas ever. Sincerely, Greg. My system worked out pretty well for the first couple of gifts, but after that, not so much. Dear Aunt Loretta, thank you so much for the awesome pants. How did you know I wanted that for Christmas? I love the way the pants looks on my legs. All my friends will be so jealous that I have my very own pants. Thank you for making this the best Christmas ever. Sincerely, Greg. Friday. I finally knocked Raleigh off the big wheel today, but it didn't happen the way I expected. I was trying to hit him in the shoulder, but I missed, and the football went under the front tire. Flip. Raleigh tried to break his fall by sticking out his arms, but he landed pretty hard on his left hand. I figured he'd just shake it off and get right back on the bike, but he didn't. I tried to cheer him up, but all the jokes that usually crack him up weren't working. So there he is, falling off the big wheel. So I knew he must be hurt pretty bad. Hey, look at me, I'm your dad. Dirt, 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 dirt. Okay, here he is sitting on the sidewalk trying to laugh at the joke. Christmas vacation is over and now we're back at school. And you remember Raleigh's big wheel accident? Well, he broke his hand and now he has to wear a cast. And today everyone was crowding around him like he was a hero or something. Does it still hurt? A little, I guess. You poor thing. I tried to cash in on some of Raleigh's new popularity, but it totally backfired. I'm the one who broke his hand. You meanie. At lunch, a bunch of girls invited Raleigh over to their tables so they could feed him. So there they're telling him he's a meanie. Here they're feeding him. Here comes the airplane. Yum, yum. What really ticks me off about that is that Raleigh is right-handed, and it's his left hand that's broken, so he can feed himself just fine. Tuesday. I realized Raleigh's injury thing is a pretty good racket, so I decided it was time for me to have an injury of my own. I took some gauze from home and I wrapped up my hand to make it look like it was hurt. It's a raging infection caused by a splinter that was left untreated. I couldn't figure out why the girls weren't swarming me like they swarmed Rowley, but then I realized what the problem was. See, the cast is a great gimmick because everyone wants to sign their name on it. But it's not exactly easy to sign gauze with a pen. So I came up with a solution that I thought was just as good. Would you like to be the first one to sign my sympathy sheet? That idea was a total bust, too. My bandage did end up attracting attention from a couple of people, but believe me, they were not the type of people I was going for. Can I peek at your infection? Go away. Monday. Last week we started the third quarter at school, so now I have a whole bunch of new classes. One of the classes I signed up for is something called Independent Study. I wanted to sign up for Home Economics 2 because I was pretty good at Home Ec 1. But being good at sewing does not exactly buy you popularity points in school. Hey, look, Greg has a purse. Actually, it's an embroidered book bag. Okay, Percy. Okay, so here they are, giving him a hard time about his purse. Anyway, this independent study thing is an experiment they're trying out at our school for the first time. The idea is that the class gets assigned a project, and then you have to work on it together with no teacher in the room for the whole quarter. The catch is that when you're done, everyone in your group gets the same grade. I found out that Ricky Fisher is in my class, which could be a big problem. Ricky's big claim to fame is that he'll pick the gum off the bottom of a desk and chew it for you if you pay him 50 cents. So I don't really have high hopes for our final grade. Here's a picture of Ricky chewing gum that they found off the desk. Tuesday. Today we got our independent study assignment, and guess what it is? We have to build a robot. At first, everybody kind of freaked out because we thought we were going to have to build the robot from scratch. Oh my gosh. Excuse me. But Mr. Darnell told us we don't have to build an actual robot. We just need to come up with ideas for what our robot might look like and what kinds of things it would be able to do. Then he left the room and we were on our own. We started brainstorming right away. I wrote down a bunch of ideas on the blackboard. The robot would do my homework, do the dishes, make my breakfast, and brush my teeth. Everybody was pretty impressed with my ideas, but it was easy to come up with them. All I did was write down all the things I hate doing myself. But a couple of the girls got up to the front of the room, and they had some ideas of their own. They erased my list and drew up their own plan. They wanted to invent a robot that would give you dating advice and have 10 types of lip gloss on its fingertips. All us guys thought that this was the stupidest idea we ever heard. So we ended up splitting into two groups, girls and boys. The boys went to the other side of the room while the girls stood around talking. Now that we had all the serious workers in one place, we got to work. Someone had the idea that you can say your name to the robot and it can say it back to you. Hi, Bob. It is very nice to meet you, Bob. So here's the girls talking, and here's the robot. But then someone else pointed out that you shouldn't be able to use bad words for your name because the robot shouldn't be able to curse. So we decided we should come up with a list of all the bad words the robot shouldn't be able to say. We came up with all the regular bad words, but then Ricky Fisher came up with 20 more the rest of us had never even heard before. So Ricky ended up being one of the most valuable contributors on this project. Right before the bell rang, Mr. Darnell came back in the room to check on our progress. He picked up the piece of paper we were writing on and read it over. Okay, here's them working. To make a long story short, independent study is canceled for the rest of the year. Well, at least it is for us boys. So if the robots in the future are going around with cherry lip gloss for fingers, and at least now you know how it all got started. Thursday. In school today, they had a general assembly and showed the movie It's Great to Be Me, which they show us every year. The movie is all about how you should be happy with who you are and not change anything about yourself. To be honest with you, I think that's a really dumb message to be telling kids, especially the ones at my school. It's great to be me. Ha ha, shove. Later on, they made an announcement that there are some openings on the safety patrols, and that got me thinking. If someone picks on a safety patrol, it can get them suspended. The way I figure it, I can use any extra protection I can get. Plus, I realize that maybe being in a position of authority could be good for me. Okay. There it shows him tripping. Shoving him over. I went down to Mr. Winsky's office and signed myself up, and I got Rowley to sign up too. I thought Mr. Winsky would make us do a bunch of chin-ups or jumping jacks or something to prove we were up for the job. But he just handed us our belts and badges on the spot. Okay, and then they're asking if they can cross the street. They're like, can we please cross the street now? Nope. But we've been standing here for an hour. And there they are getting their badges. Mr. Winsky said the openings were for a special assignment. Our school is right next to the elementary school, and they've got a half-day kindergarten there. He wants us to walk the morning session kids home in the middle of the day. I realized that meant we would miss 20 minutes of pre-algebra. Rowley must have figured that out too because he started to speak up. But I gave him a wicked pinch underneath the desk before he could finish his sentence. But we would miss yowie! I couldn't believe my luck. I was getting instant bully protection and a free pass from half of pre-algebra. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. Okay, so here he is. Tuesday. Today was our first day at safety patrols. Me and Rowley didn't technically have stations like all the other patrols, so that means we don't have to stand out in the freezing cold for an hour before school. But that didn't stop us from coming to the cafeteria for the free hot chocolate they hand out to the other patrols before homeroom. Another great perk is that you get to show up 10 minutes late for first period. Okay, so here's the chocolate, and here they are showing up late. I'm telling you, I've got it made with this safety patrol thing. At 12:15, me and Rowley left school and walked the kindergartners home. The whole trip ate up 45 minutes, and there were only 20 minutes of pre-algebra left when we got back. Walking the kids home was so sweet, but one of the kindergartners started to smell a little funny, and I think maybe he had an accident in his pants. He tried to let me know about it, but I just stared straight ahead and kept walking. I'll take these kids home, but believe me, I didn't sign up for any diaper duty. So there they are, and the kid's tugging on him. Okay, and I believe that's the end. Yes, that's the end of January.